Hi there. Welcome to Stories and Other Things Holy. This week, Terry Nelson Johnson, our principal storyteller, shares a story of how our habits and routines can sometimes contribute to missing out on the beauty and the opportunities around us. I invite you to take a moment, look up, and join us as we experience Stories and Other Things Holy.
Stories and Other Things Holy. I think maybe it's just me, but my hunch is it's all of us. I think we just need to be reminded over and over and over again of some of the basics of our humanity. And you would think like, well, that's obvious. And I'm like, well, yeah, it is obvious, but God, I need to be reminded. And to take that phrase seriously, but God, I need to be reminded. This is a story that reminded me. Perhaps it'll remind all of us. Remind me again today and remind all of us as well. So the story involves these two women. They're very good friends, and they no longer live in the same area, but they want to sustain their friendship. And their strategy to sustain their friendship is to get together twice a year intentionally and do something. And they alternate planning it. One of them is a type A, one of them is like spacey. And if it's the type A, you get very elaborate instructions, 6 weeks out with color coding and when the planes come in and what the ground transportation will look like, what your suitcase should look like so it can be identifiable. Are you with me now? Those of you type A people. If you're sort of the ADD type like myself, you get a postcard like 4 days before, like, I cannot wait to see you. Let's meet on the wharf on Tuesday. Like, okay. So in this instance, it was the type A person planning. So you got the thing, you got the schedule. They were going to North Carolina. And sure enough, the planes come in, they come in coordinated. They meet at luggage. Their luggage has the little, flower things on them, so they know where their luggage is coming in. They go out, ground transportation, bam. And they go right to the bike shop. Their plan is to go biking for a couple days. And she had sent ahead of them, obviously, their heights, what kind of bikes they wanted, how they wanted them adjusted, et cetera, et cetera. Bikes were ready. Had the helmets, had the gloves, had the height correct. Now, if you're the type A person, you're like, I love this vacation so far. So they take a little, spin around to make sure everything's good. And they come back, and then the woman planning it turns to the guy that's been taking care of them at the bike shop and says, we don't have too much time, and we're interested mostly in beauty. So with respect to beauty, would you suggest we go into the forest or down the coast? And the guy looks completely perplexed. She repeats it. His perplexion remains. And then she says, do you bike around here? And he says, yeah, I bike like a couple hundred miles a week. You know how when you're communicating with somebody and it's not going well, sometimes you think if you increase your volume and slow down, it's going to be effective. So she does the like, okay then, we are interested in beauty. Would you suggest down the coast or into the forest? And the guy's obviously a biker because he has, that hat that tips up, and then if he walks away, his calves talk. Like, this guy's got it. Bikes a couple hundred hours a week. And finally he looks at her, he's like, geez, lady, I wish I could help you, but I never look up on a bike. He bikes a couple hundred miles a week, and he does not look up. Like, what's he looking at? Devices that's telling him his elevation and his heart rate, and he's missing the crocuses and the birds and the oxygen. Sometimes we need to be reminded to look up. Make eye contact, for God's sake. Like, literally, make eye contact for God's sake. Let's remind each other. Stories and Other Things Holy.